Future Isaac here, guys. I'm editing the podcast, and there's a couple things I want to say before you watch. One, this episode is definitely not for children, so if you're around children, around the family, just letting you know, probably don't. We touch on some pretty deep subjects. Number two, I'm also aware that there's some audio and camera glitching. Guys, this is only our second episode. We're still trying to finalize it, figure stuff out, so please have grace for us. Anyway, real talk. Get back to the episode. Right, guys.
Real talk.
Thanks. You know, we actually discussed this. I don't know why that took me by surprise so much. Again, episode 2. This is gonna be. I think. If it's not, I don't know. Anyway, first off, we're gonna spend the first 5 minutes of this video addressing the comments that we got in last episode. So if you haven't seen last episode, go watch that, or just AI summary so you understand what we're talking about.
No, please watch it.
Oh yeah, no, actually, yeah, good point. Please watch it so that you know what we're talking about right now. First off, I heard your guys' positive comments and the positive feedback, the critiques, and so hopefully we've addressed those in today's episode. Feel free to say whatever you guys want, because we're really actually trying to make something here, so don't feel like you're gonna hurt our pride or whatever. We don't have that small of an ego. So, and then we got a comment from someone which basically says a bit more of a critique. Oh, I was reading this one. Good job, guys. That doesn't seem like a critique. Here it is here. Maybe I'll edit it and put it on screen. Comment. Here we go. Kids are required oh, wrong. Restart. Here we go, guys, with the comment should be right here. All right. Kids are not required for marriage to be valid and loving, nor is a deity.
You know what? There's a little bit of a point there. At no point in the video did we claim that you needed to have kids to have a valid marriage.
Yeah.
Though it's clear the biblical intention for marriage, God's intention for marriage is to produce more people. That is God's method for producing more people for him to love, is for a man and a woman to get married and make babies, if they can.
Yeah.
But they're not required for having a valid marriage. And a marriage can be loving, even if you are sterile, you're barren, you have difficulties having kids, or you haven't had kids yet, you can still be loving. And the valid aspect's really interesting, actually, because as Christians, we're actually called to honor marriage. If marriage is so sacred, we actually respect marriages done in the names of like other deities. Like if we came across two Hindus who are in a marriage dedicated to Vishnu or something, we would honor the covenant they've made with each other, because that's just how important, unbreakable marriage is. Two atheists get married, similarly, we'd also honor and respect that.
If it was valid marriage, going back to what we're saying, not anything you call marriage. Yeah, definitely. I think what we're saying, and I think that's why you've hit the nail on the head there. If it's a valid marriage according to the Bible, so them saying that we're doing it to, I don't know, some random god, doesn't make the marriage itself invalid if it's the joining between a man and a woman. Because a common critique we can hear, or I've heard, is, well, you went to your atheist friend wedding, why won't you come to my wedding if I'm a female, where I'm marrying another female, a homosexual wedding, why won't you come to that? It's because one is actually, even though they may not realize it, a valid marriage and joining together under God, and the other one just isn't.
Yeah. If we break it down, what's the bare minimum required to have a marriage, right? In the New Testament, a lot of the time when it's talking about people violating marriages, or people who are married and then carry those marriages into their Christian faith, these are marriages between like Greeks and Romans under pagan circumstances, right?
Yeah.
So what is it? What is a marriage? What is the minimum fit for a marriage? And it seems to be, right, sexual exclusivity, a man and a woman in sexual exclusivity.
Yeah.
And there needs to be some kind of witnessing. It seems like there isn't really a precedent for having secret marriages. It seems like you either have a community and your family, ideally you have God as a witness, community and family, being witness to the ceremony. So there needs to be some aspect of that. I think even in a Las Vegas marriage, you have some kind of arbitrator or someone, right? Witness it.
Yeah.
And also there needs to be a promise made for the long term.
Yeah.
Right. Like even in Roman marriages, I don't think the expectation was until death do us part per se.
No,
But there's some expectation that it's a long-term commitment.
it is. Otherwise,
Right.
you wouldn't commit to it, is
Yeah.
it? Anyway, we talked on this a decent amount in the other episode. So if you want to hear more in depth, this is just to address the comments. And in short, she obviously didn't listen to the video because she said kids are not required for marriage. We didn't say they're required for marriage. That presupposes that you have the kids before the marriage.
Yeah.
We said you have marriage, and then the main priority is to produce the kids.
Yeah,
She's got-
absolutely. So she has a huge point, and she's also managed to completely miss everything we were saying.
She has a point in probably the way they didn't intend it.
Yeah.
You know, and I imagine they probably got 5 minutes into the video, got triggered, and then was like,
Oh, yeah.
So here
Thank
you
you for leaving a comment anyway.
yeah, thank you. You helped us, and you
Yeah.
didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Let's give it a like. I didn't like it. And a heart. And a thumbs down.
Pin it.
Here we. And there we go. Bing, bang, bush. And now we're going to get on to the actual part of this video. Peter has provided a video for us to watch that we're going to give commentary. So I think maybe you can skip this if you want or put it to X speed. Breakdown of what we think the podcast is probably going to look like. Videos that we see interest in, addressing topics that we have already talked about. Just so we're kind of on a narrow path, because
Yeah.
me and Pete definitely have a tendency to just go, but what about this avenue and this avenue and this avenue? But if we have a video that we're reacting to, it kind of keeps us locked into that one aspect. There you go, of the topic. Here we go. Yeah.
So this video is from a dude called Effective Purpose. I do enjoy a lot of the stuff he says. He talks to some fringe people also, but you know, I don't know. I like having fringe perspectives out there so we can discuss them. He seems like a genuine believer. Yeah, we don't endorse everything he says. I've not listened to everything he says, but
It's so funny to me, specifically in social media, where if you agree with one like this, why is this word? If you agree with one thing someone says, then that's an endorsement of everything they've ever done.
Yeah.
That's not the
yeah,
case.
guilt by association style.
Yeah,
stuff. But
there
no,
you go.
we're not in that situation. But I think this is an interesting video.
This isn't it. Let's hit
the go.
Let's double check the sound. Didn't work.
For the men who are single because the women don't want them, Christian culture is a harsh place to be. It has no respect for you at all if you're not married. You're basically a second-class citizen. But at the same time, it's taboo to tell the truth about what women find attractive. So nobody will help you get married. And since it can't see any flaws in itself, the culture often aggressively blames young men for all their problems and beats them down for everything that they're getting wrong right now. And that used to work. Guys.
Was there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I spent very little time single when I first joined the church.
Mm-hmm.
The church in general, not like a church. This was in Glasgow when I first came to faith. So I spent like a very short season single. Then I met my wife during a baptism class, and we started off very friendly.
What does a baptism class mean?
Well, it was a Baptist congregation, so they kind of want to drill you on like what it means to get baptized.
Oh, okay.
And they want to sort you out, make sure
Yeah,
that you get people to vouch for you as well, to make sure you're actually sincere.
That makes sense. Not against that.
Yeah,
necessarily.
yeah. It does. I mean, let's just say some people slip through the cracks a little bit on that checking, but that always happens. Anyway, so in short order, I met my wife the December. Well, we started going out the December, courting. We'll talk about the boyfriend girlfriend thing at a different occasion.
Yeah.
See how we feel about that. But
I think I'm out of focus here. There we go. I'm back in. Oh, I forgot to take the video off screen. Boom.
okay, so we started courting for a couple of months, and then we were certain we wanted to get married, and we got married the November of the following year. So we're talking about 11 months of courtship, marriage preparation, then marriage. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a kid shortly after. So I spent very little time single. So I don't actually know what the church's approach, general like modern Protestant denominations' approaches are to single men, how they view them. But I have talked to a lot of young men, and loads of them many are caught in this kind of weird in-between place where they're not kids anymore, so they get kind of less leeway. And they're not established yet. They don't have a wife and a family and a house and a mortgage and all this kind of stuff. And it feels like the world is beginning to partition, where you have like this, and at that age where you have all these young adults actually getting started with life, actually being given by some respect by people who are older than them in their communities. and kids, and they kind of have nowhere to go. And I really feel for that. I feel like dating and courtship is so messed up, and the way that it's even dealt with in the church is often so messed up that you're making all these guys who probably already feel like losers feel like they are so profoundly unuseful or immature that they can't be useful to other people. They can't serve. They can't be everyone that they can't be who God wants them to be because they just haven't made it yet. They haven't found a woman to legitimize them as people. And I think that's really sad, right? I think that's really sad. And I'm really interested to know your experience because you've spent some amount of time single in the church.
Yeah, I did spend some of my. I just kind of and kind of not. Maybe I'm taking this a different avenue, and then you can stop. I think part of the problem with modern culture is this maybe a culture of what's a lack of a better word, like lack of accountability, like lack to actually call people out and actually what does accountability entail? It entails actually I confess to you and you also check in on me. So it's not just one way, it's a two-way system. And I think I lacked a lot of accountability and people willing to have hard conversations with me. So I actually didn't spend a ton of time single because when I got to the age of puberty and I started looking at girls and thought that they were attractive, I would start secretly dating them. So my mom and dad didn't even know. And so and I'm not saying that everyone's the exact same. I did obviously have times of singleness. So I think having the conversations, I think, would help. He addresses it here, not even necessarily about having the conversations of what women find attractive, but actually having the conversations about sexual desires and things like that. Because the biggest thing, this happens all the time. Everyone's always talking about specifically young men that start podcasts or young men that start social media, always got my testimony, pornography.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think is this going off topic, but I think pornography ties into this lack of desire. Because if you don't have the right view of sex, if you don't have the right view of how to approach women, you're not being taught what do they find attractive, what are they looking for in a guy, what are they looking for this, and then you turn to pornography, that is going to destroy your relationship with God. Yeah. And all these things, and they're all coming together. Does that kind of answer what you're talking
totally.
about?
I mean, and that's like one side of the situation is because you also have the other side where you are a guy who is attractive to women and you have porn brain and therefore you treat women like disgustingly, right? We also see that a lot is like, obviously we see it more in the world, but guys who are not losers, guys who can get female attraction and then treat women terribly because their whole idea of sexuality is born from pornography. So not only do you have these guys with maybe warped ideas of women or a strange or like a twisted sexuality who can't get women, and maybe the pornography kind of like
feeds into that.
Yeah. You also have these of the guys who do get women, they're perverts and they're playboys, and it's just pornography is just an evil. It's just an all around evil in this regard. But I do want to focus more on the guys who do have difficulties getting women. I feel like.
Well, let's talk about. I just want to say one thing to that before we switch. Is Forrest Frank went on? I want to say what's his name. He's a really popular evangelist guy. Maybe I'll just put it on the screen. And if this pornography thing and that thing is something that...
Is it Living Waters guy?
Speaking to... No, it's a really young evangelist guy. The guy at the interview was 6'9". I was telling you about. And they touched on this. So if you want more necessarily about diving specifically into pornography, that was a really great thing because Forrest Frank actually talked about how in his marriage... he was over pornography, I'm pretty sure is what he was saying. He wasn't addicted to it anymore. But when he actually entered into that relationship with his wife, when they're having sex, there was a moment where she was like, whoa, where did you learn that? I didn't like that. And he realized instantly where he learned that from. And I think I'm going to put a stop to this conversation, but I think in the final putting the stop to that, I think we need to be more honest about pornography addiction, lust addiction, but also, even if you don't necessarily struggle with those things, actually talking about sex more.
Yeah.
Full stop. Going into what you were going to say. I just wanted to finish that nicely.
Sure. I mean, that feeds directly in what I was going to say, because talking about what women talking about what women find attractive, let's tackle two ideas, right? First is you are a legitimate member of a community if you can get a woman to marry you. This idea, right? Now, conceivably that has something to it, right? If a woman puts her trust in you as a leader over her, right, and she has good judgment, that actually does say something about you.
They're not presupposing that the woman thinks it.
Yeah.
Like she wants a leader, though.
Presupposing that she wants a leader and she has good judgment in someone, in the dude that she's seeing. Like, does this guy have potential? You're like, women aren't supposed to be looking for the finished product. They're supposed to see a work in progress that they can that where you can mutually serve. We're both building something, and you're not there yet. That's what women should be going for, right? I think, but this is where we get into trouble, right? I think the legitimate. First off, it's dubious now that kind of legitimacy is well earned in the modern day. I think the sexual dynamic is so weird and so crazy, and we're all being so dishonest about what we like. We're all being so dishonest about what men and women are like. We can barely describe what a woman is. We don't know what a woman is anymore.
Yeah, and that's not even just going off like the Matt Walsh. What is a woman? It's like generally like actually, what are the differences?
Yeah,
it's like honestly, I remember when I was telling my non-Christian friends that me and Victoria, my wife now, hadn't had sex before marriage, they were like bamboozled. And one of the things that they were saying was, well, how do you know that the sex is good? Like, how do you know then when you're in a relationship, if they're the one?
Yeah, because I love her. That's how.
Yeah.
Because I love her. And and even if we aren't perfectly sexually compatible now, we have the rest of our lives of communicating and trying stuff out. And hey, the practice is fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not that sex legitimizes a relationship. A relationship in marriage legitimizes the sex, right? Anyway.
That was a bar right there.
I've used the...
Boom! I'm going to put an explosion behind you.
Yeah. But, it's dubious now that it proves... It's dubious now that you need to be someone with an established family or with a wife to show other people that you can be a responsible guy.
Yeah,
I think that's dubious, and I think if you're feeling there's a danger also that you start viewing women as that's the next step to my ministries. I need to partner with a woman, right? Like even like and God isn't necessarily calling me to this. I don't have a woman in mind, but I just feel like it would be good for my career in the kingdom if I got with a woman and started a family, right? I feel like that's a danger. Right, and I've had some troubling conversations with some people at some times where like they were like, yeah, it's just the natural progression of life. You just got to do that so you can serve more. Is you need to get married, and I go like, well, kind of, but like there is there's a mutual trust that needs to build, a liking, an affection, a sexual attraction. All these things are actually good.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so like if that's not right, if you meet someone who's not right, that's not the right thing to do, right? It's just. Do you not feel that way? Do you not feel like guys sometimes think that they're lacking legitimacy because they don't have a woman, and that's a dubious idea in the first place?
To be honest, I think no. I think to a certain degree that's a troubling thought, but you already have to be in some level of maturity to actually want a woman. Because I know tons of guys that already don't want a woman. They don't want that. They don't want the pressure. I was speaking to someone, I love him to bits. He's going to know who I'm talking about. So if you watch this, sorry, but I'm not going to name him by name. He was literally saying that, I forgot doing that disclaimer. If he was to marry right now, she would have to be easy. He doesn't want to marry a woman that has hard work. That's hard work, you know, and is emotionally stable and all of that stuff. And so I've actually come across the opposite. Really? A lot of young guys my age that don't want to get married.
Yeah.
And I think what I was going to say is going to the culture thing is we live in a world where education and going to uni and all of this are so important that one of the problems I ran into when I wanted to actually marry my wife, Victoria, was her dad had a very low view on me because 1, I didn't join the military. 2, I hadn't gone to uni. 3, I wasn't making a ton of money. And so I think going into tying in more to what the video was saying, I personally think, maybe this is just because I had a pretty negative experience between Dad and I in regards to his view on me, that if a man has a godly desire, like discernment, like you need to actually like ask people around him, hey, does this guy actually have a desire? Don't just go, oh, he seems like he has a desire. Look, ask the people around him. Has a general godly desire, has people around him to keep him accountable. That is more important than all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to some degree, men are disqualifying themselves because like, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have a degree, I don't have money, I'm not mature enough or whatever. Because we live in a culture right now where marriage is being pushed back later and later and later and later. I'm only 23, I got married at 22. People thought it was insane.
Crazy.
They thought it was insane. Even people in the church.
Mm-hmm. I had family members on my wife's side who suggested that we stay engaged for longer and not have kids as soon as we did. And like after you've had your first kid, you're like, oh, I'm so glad we did this. Right?
My driving instructor literally said, why don't you move in together, live life together, do all of that, and then decide if you want to get married. What?
Yeah.
We've literally had someone in the church say to us, like they asked Victoria her age, and she's like, oh, I'm only 21. And they're like, oh, so you still got years left before you have to have kids. Like, enjoy this time. You don't need kids. Like, don't even worry about having kids. It's just, I don't know. Sorry, we're changing the subject there slightly.
No, yeah.
But maybe that's for another time. But maybe let's try to bring it back to the video.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you're saying, okay, let me get this straight. Because I asked.
My mic cut. I'm keeping that in, bro. No.
I asked, do you think there are guys who see like a woman as that next step in in life that pushes them ahead?
Maybe.
And you go, maybe, but there's a certain level of maturity you need to have to even think about marrying in the first place.
Exactly.
Which is shocking because I know some immature people who are married.
Yeah.
In fact, we had a conversation earlier today.
I'm pretty immature. We're keeping it a buck. I'm not perfect. I've not started a podcast because I think I'm some high and mighty. I've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
And I literally had that. I literally had someone tell me when they got married because they were annoyed because they're older than me, like 8 years, 10 years older than me, that I got married before them. And they're like, sorry. They messaged me, like, it was very humble of them, basically. So I'm not holding it against them that they messaged me, but I'm just saying what they said to bring context to the view of modern culture. Was they're like, sorry, I treated you so poorly. I repent of that. I just thought you were too immature to get married.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, is that...
Oh, but that doesn't reflect something weirdly psychological. It's like, well, he doesn't deserve to get married.
Exactly.
He's too immature.
Exactly.
He hasn't made it yet. He hasn't earned a wife.
Yeah.
But I think that reflects exactly what he's just saying. That's people passing judgment on you because you haven't earned it in their opinion.
You know what's so weird is I don't know any of these standards that apply to women.
No.
What's so weird is we live in a culture, and I had this yesterday, and this is coming from two married men, so you can't say that this is like a Nick Fuentes moment where he's just hating on women because
closet homosexual.
Yeah, closet homosexual because he can't actually get one. It's like, no, we're actually married. Is that this feminism thing wants the feminism as well as men keeping the roles that benefit them. Meaning that it's like, we were talking on like, you were saying before about a woman looking for a leader, that presupposes that she's actually looking for a leader. She's not looking for a leader, but she also wants to keep the role where she doesn't have to reach a certain requirement to get married, but he has to reach a certain requirement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so like, I had people say that I was too immature to get married because of that requirement for the guy, but it was like,
they wouldn't say the same about her.
No, but because I think there's actually truth to that. I'm not saying that that's dumb. I think there is more pressure as the leader, as the head, that I am to a certain degree. If it was to be one way, I was more mature than her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Now, obviously, you'd want to both be mature, but I was just saying you would rather have a mature husband than a mature female. But that's going to trigger people. And I know people right now that I'm very close to that would have heard what I just said and got so upset, yet they won't apply that standard to the woman. They go, what are you saying that like, they both need to be mature? It's like, okay, so then why are you only applying that standard to me? Because you know it deep down that is true.
Yeah.
You know deep down that the man is the leader. And this is the thing as well. Even most progressive, more left-leaning Christians I know would say, this is changing the topic, that women should submit to their husbands. They would agree that, but then they always have to add in this add-on, which is, but a good leader doesn't make their wife submit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm trying to get on?
Yeah, I mean, the Bible doesn't say that men need to enforce that, but having a wife who doesn't want to submit to you it's a sin on her behalf. There is a commandment to wives to submit.
We're triggering so many people.
We are, but that's because most people don't understand what we mean by submit.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe we shouldn't do that just now. But I want to say, like, you can lovingly call out your wife and say, hey, like, I'm supposed to be steering the ship, and unless I'm doing something morally wrong, you can't pull the brakes. We have to be working together on this, because otherwise you're in sin, right? But that doesn't mean you're like, it's make me so angry. Why don't you listen to me?
I want to just not clarify or qualify my statement a bit more. Is the fact that people don't have an eternal perspective when they think about this. Why am I saying that? Because I think when I stand before God, I'm going to have to give an account not for only my life, but Victoria's life and our children's life. I don't believe when Victoria stands before God, she's going to have to give an account to my life. She'll have to give an account to how she was a wife to me. But God's not going to say the bad decisions Isaac made are now your burden. And this is what I'm talking about. And this is the thing people don't talk about. They don't have an eternal perspective. The reason I say men have to be the head is because when we stand before God, we are going to be judged for it. You know? And that, you know what I'm saying? People don't think about it. They don't add that into the conversation. They just make it all about emotion. They just make it all about this. But it's like, I truly, truly believe, and this goes for female pastors and women that are the head or whatever, is when they stand before God, even if they were acting in that role, God's not going to go through their life and go, okay, so how did you lead your children? She's like, oh yeah, but I led my husband. God's gonna be like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. So let's ignore all of that. You know what I'm saying? And when a female pastor stands before a church, and she's like, oh, look at all the good things I do. God's gonna be like, okay, so what's this? And you're like, you're missing 70% of my life. Yeah, but 70% of your life that wasn't your job to do. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm changing the subject slightly, but I just wanted to qualify what I was saying about having that eternal perspective. When I stand before God, I'm going to have to give an account for that. God's going to judge me based on that.
I mean, bringing it back to some of this, I mean, the point is that we just don't address women's sin the way we address men's sin.
No.
And that comes down to expectation. That's where the expectations come as well. Is, I mean, nobody said to your wife, like, oh, she's too immature. She hasn't earned Isaac's trust. She hasn't earned that ring.
I'll say this to make sure I'm being 100% honest. Victoria knows. People told me that they think she might be a bit immature, but no one ever told her.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if that changes what you're gonna say, but
that's not. I mean, that's not great either. I mean, like, I found that's a bit babying, really.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I actually think women can be like Jesus, like be as wise as Jesus, be as loving as Jesus, be as strong as Jesus. Right? And Jesus also submitted to someone. Did you know that? Did you know that Jesus submitted someone? Not only did he submit to Caesar's punishment, but he also submitted to the will of the Father, not his own will. So if you're telling me that submitting to someone who's in rightful authority over you is bad, then you're casting judgment on Jesus. Jesus is weak. Yeah, if only you knew how valuable you were, Jesus, you could do anything that Caesar could do.
They literally say, like, if you're the Son of God, if you're actually the Messiah, why don't you cast down a legion of angels or get yourself off the cross? Yeah. It's literally like, and this is what we touched on, and we're literally going to release a short about it. When you said it right, this is almost everything when it comes to this kind of relationship thing is viewing it in light of Trinity. Viewing it in light of the Trinity. And this is what I'm talking about in eternal perspective. And when I talk about eternal perspective, 90% of the time I'm talking about when we stand before God. But I'm also just talking about a wider view. Take about a wider view and look at it. And people, I just don't think people think that enough. I think we live in such a culture where maybe it's media or whatever, but I just don't think enough. People think I'm a radical. I was going to make a short about it. People think I'm a radical. What positions do I hold that are radical? You know what I'm saying? I could get into it right now. It's like, man, it's not, I'm not like frustrated, like angry, but there's an emotion in me that just provokes, That's why I wanted to start this podcast. That's why I wanted to start making content, was because there's something inside of me which I want other people to grasp.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the biggest criticisms I've got and other things is that I'm not pastoral enough. It's so odd. It's so odd. And maybe it ties into this a bit, where good feelings are now attributed to pastoral and loving. It's like the reason I'm this passionate is because I want other people to get it. And I want some other people to get this revelation that God has given me. That's literally the definition of pastoral.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, tied into that is in Western society, your biggest danger is feeling bad. You know,
And
it's not. You don't need a shepherd to rescue you.
We're literally what 10 seconds into the show. Do you want to carry on the video?
No, but I want to wrap. I want to wrap this up,
Uh-huh.
and then we can move on. What were we talking about? We're talking about expectations put on men.
Yes.
Okay, he's saying there's such a huge burden placed on men because if you don't get married, men perceive it as not having moved on to that next stage. And like people have said to you, hey, you haven't earned marriage because you aren't mature enough, right?
So I would say this to go to what you were saying. I think older men look down on younger men because they're not married.
Yes.
But younger men don't look at marriage as the next step. Like proper younger men.
Oh,
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Because they have, see, the older men that are married, they're not seeing a lot of the younger men get married. So they're like, this is something in my distant future. What can I do now? I can travel the world.
I mean, I think that also comes from a young short-sightedness. They go like, I have time to travel the world. I just want to have sex with a woman. Marriage is kind of like fuzzy, but I know my desire to have sex with a woman. Whereas older men have a little bit a longer, they have a wider event horizon. They can see a little bit more long-term. Whereas young guys are a little bit more impulsive. And so they maybe have that frustration of the older men aren't giving me opportunities. They aren't giving me any respect. They aren't giving me chances for me to serve because I haven't proven myself in marriage. But maybe you're right. Maybe there isn't that intrinsic hunger. Maybe men just don't have that intrinsic hunger for marriage. So before you continue, I've always wanted to get married. I've always wanted to have kids. Like when I was little, I wanted to get married and have kids.
I'm going to get emotional here. We're going to get deep. There was one night specifically where my mental health was really bad, and maybe we'll add more into it. I'm not going to give my whole testimony right now, where I was going to go kill myself. I went out really late at night.
You're going to have to bleep that. You're going to, I wanted to go, beep,
yeah,
beep.
yeah. I wanted to go
unalive.
In game. I wanted to
despawn.
I wanted to despawn. That was it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any checkpoint lives left or whatever. And the literal reason I didn't was because I wanted to be a father, which also included wanted to be married.
Yeah.
Literal reason why I didn't. And what I wanted to say to you, what was it? About the young men and the expectation. What were we talking about?
Older men looking down on younger men being more impulsive, wanting to travel the world, and therefore being directed to marriage.
I remember now. Was one of the biggest things that was said to us, because I don't have at the time, I didn't really have a very well-paying job. It was like, how are you going to pay visa? How are you going to do this? Is this need for stability. I was like, some of the most powerful testimonies I've ever heard from relationships are those where they went through the mud together. And I remember saying this to Victoria, it's like, Victoria, I want to marry you so much that I don't mind if we have £1 million or we have £1. I just want to do the journey with you, you know? And if we don't, and getting married now when we have little, I think will be better and more beneficial than if we wait to get married to have the stability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Because actually just being joined to you as one and going through that process, I think is more fruitful and better than if we were to wait to get married.
I mean, that's on point. Yeah, it's supposed to be the start of the journey. Like I said, you're a work in progress. Both of you are. Your lives together are a work in progress. You're not looking for someone who's the finished product. It's impossible.
No, but I don't. I think people are. I think people are looking for that finished process. That finished. What did you say?
Finished product.
The finished product, because we live in such a world where people need stability, that they then come into this marriage like, oh, if I wouldn't have got married if I didn't feel like I was ready yet. Anyway, so then when they enter into marriage and that has these challenges, they go, well, there's something wrong with our marriage. There must be something wrong with us. We need to instantly seek counseling. We need to instantly seek help. It's like, or maybe being married is a process and it's hard.
And it's this is a twisted thing that I think has come from our culture. This idea of when I'm ready, when you've earned it, I'll marry you. And that proves something about how compatible we are, how good you are in my eyes. John Lennox says this. He says, imagine if I met my wife and we got married and then I waited until we were on our deathbed. And I turned to her and said, "You know, honey, after all the time we spent together, I've decided that I love you. I think you've proven yourself."
Yeah.
And he was relating, I do believe he's relating it to how God makes a commitment to us when we're still at our messiest. Like, we are, when you get saved, it's usually when you're the most trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You're
Or at least
most wretched. Usually.
it
right?
comes with or at least comes with. Sorry, pardon me. You might not be the worst person in the world, or you might not necessarily be in the deepest depression, but when you're saved, it comes with a revelation of
how trash you are.
How trash
and you
are,
haven't even
yeah.
begun improving yet.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
You're at the start. Your eyes are opened to how much further you need to go to become Jesus. Right? And yet God commits to us the moment we get saved.
And this is, again, bringing it back, marriage to the Trinity.
Absolutely.
Bringing it back to the way God was on the cross. Man, this is good stuff. I'm liking this, bro. I'm liking this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting issue.
It
right?
is an interesting issue.
It's an interesting issue. Shall we hit go?
Well, here's the one thing, but we'll hit go. This is food for thought. When was the last time you heard a sermon on this stuff?
Oh, never. Oh, never. Yeah. Yeah.
It's too triggering. This is the thing. This is what we're getting. We're in a world.
I made a preach on integrity for our church,
Mm-hmm.
and I absolutely put in the wife submit to your husband thing in there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I don't know if people liked it. People were generally quite complimentary. I hope I did it quite gently, but that's probably the only time I've heard people preach on that. I think maybe I've heard Mike Winger preach on that as well.
This is the thing, is I think a lot of this, they don't think is for the pulpit. You know, they're like, we won't preach this on a Sunday, but if you guys want to come, if people want to come to a Thursday night when we do it. The thing I found with that is, like, our church did something on pro-life, and they didn't show some material because they were like, it's too graphic or like the average person that's maybe not thought about this stuff a lot. Come to Thursday and we'll talk more in depth. It's like, but I find that the people that actually really commit to those extracurriculum things are the people that have already grasped it, and we had already seen the video.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think there is I think it is for the pulpit. I think it is for the Sunday service, because people need to grasp the revelation. And I've got a lot of hate from Christians for posting pro-life stuff or posting not explicit. What would be the word? Triggering content on my Instagram stories.
We could say like emotionally intense.
Emotionally
I think that's
intense.
a fair thing to say.
Yep.
You and I find this stuff intense.
Bro, I cried. I posted something on my story today and I cried because of it. And I'm just thinking, well, maybe the reason I don't feel convicted about it anymore is because maybe give a second thought into that emotional response that you have. You know? Changing the subject slightly, like, I actually have more faith for some of my non-believer friends that are so heinously against Christianity because they have an emotional response to it. You know what I'm saying? There's actually a response happening. Whereas I also have friends that just do not care.
Yeah.
And if you were to put their beliefs on paper, you'd think the person that didn't care was more, but he shows no response. This is what I'm thinking. Maybe that even if you react so negatively to something, like, and you're listening to what we're saying, and you're like, I reject this thoroughly, maybe give it a thought. Why?
Yeah.
Why? And if at the end of the day, after that investigation, you still disagree with us, at least you investigated. So many people come across emotions that make them feel uncomfortable, that they don't like, and then just reject it, push it to the side, and carry on. Anyway. Sorry, that was my
No, that's good.
Are you fine?
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's go. We're finally gonna carry on with the video. We're 40 minutes in.
It's fine. They'll be cutting, I think.
You used to just sort of go, okay, well, I guess I'm the problem. But it's almost like there's something similar to what happened back during the Reformation going on today. See, back then you had this new flow of information, right? The printing press was invented. People started to realize, hey, wait a second. A lot of stuff the church is teaching us isn't in the Bible. So we need to clean this up. And today you have the situation where it used to be that if a guy was struggling or the instructions he was given didn't work for him, Christians could just say, oh, well, I guess it's just not God's will for your life, because obviously you're the outlier here, because our way just is right and it just does work. work. So you must be the problem. And nobody could prove you wrong. So as a guy, you just kind of had to accept that. But now you have social media and the internet, and guys can go ask other guys, hey, did you experience the same problem that I did? Did this work for you either? No, it didn't work for me. I'm having the same problem you are. And you
Yeah. I think, okay, what's at the crux of all this? Let's put aside the condition, because we're basing our opinion a lot off the community that we are in, which honestly, in terms of the opportunities it's giving young unmarried men, it's actually getting better. We had a discussion about this downstairs. Putting that aside, I think in regards to how we talk about courtship, the boyfriend-girlfriend weirdness that is unbiblical and doesn't really exist, the temptations women have, the temptations men have, the foolishness that men exhibit sometimes when they're chasing after their passions, the foolishness women exhibit when they're chasing after their passions.
And the record.
Yeah.
And the record.
All
I
the
can't
hate.
use it. I'm actually offended for them, for my minority woman.
Yeah, women who are the majority of the population. I think when you want to, I think it's a healthy thing to equip young men to understand the human person from a biblical perspective, that both themselves and women, like in terms of our fallenness, in terms of what we could be in Christ, like all the beautiful, laudable imagery that we see of women in the Bible, and also some of the fallen stuff we see of women. This is great informative material, and you can't ignore it. Otherwise, you're setting aside a whole bunch of wisdom about how human beings are. And I think it leaves men vulnerable when you don't realize that there are a lot of women who act in the flesh out there, and you don't want a part of them. And you can have compassion on them, but you don't want to partner with them in marriage or pursue them for romantic reasons, or try to invite them into your life. And you, as a dumb man, have loads of passions that you shouldn't listen to or should be expressed in healthy ways. And you shouldn't be feeding your flesh. Like, these are important questions to have. Otherwise, you're giving guys. Here's what I think that the message most guys get are: it's in broad strokes, very broad strokes. It is almost always the man's fault. Even when the woman does something wrong, it is your fault, and she has been corrupted by you.
You know, I want to just speak to that slightly for just things that I've seen on Instagram. Is whenever I come across Instagram reels of a wife that's cheated on her husband, or a partner that's cheated on their partner, and it's a female that's done the cheating, every comment says, there must have been a reason. The other day, I came across one where the way the guy did it wasn't good, and this is an advocation for like that kind of video, where he made it seem like his wife died because she left him. But what actually happened was he cheated. And every comment was filled with hate towards this guy, because there is no justification towards him cheating. I don't think cheating's wrong. I think cheating's wrong in every regard. That wasn't to say, well, the guy should be justified. It's like, no, it's just this exception to be, well, there must have been a reason for the woman. Man, I don't know what to do. And I was thinking about this in regard, bringing it back to the porn conversation, is a lot of the time, men watching porn, it's like, pause. What if it could be both and? You know what I'm saying? What if there's responsibility to bear both sides? Yeah. Is this like, because a lot of the time with men having porn brain, they'll be like, oh, men just have porn brain, so I feel so sexualized when I'm around them. Or maybe you wear a bikini. Yeah, but men shouldn't look at my boobs. I don't know. I'm just going to trigger everyone in the flipping universe right now. Wait,
1 second. Right here, I want you to flash a cheeseburger on the screen and go, hey, don't look at my cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And you have that?
Yeah.
Just flash it.
You know, actually, I forgot to take this screen again. But you know, I know how I'm going to say this is, men's sexual desire towards women is God-given. Women's sexual desire towards men is God-given. So if men are designed to have sexual attractions toward women, not in a perverted way. So when women dress inappropriately,
provocatively, let's say,
yeah, and then you say, why is a man looking? It's like, no, duh.
Yeah.
That's not to say he should be looking, but he's been given a sexual desire towards who should be his wife. And he can't leave the house without seeing booty,
Mhm.
and boobies.
Yeah, I mean, it's look like there are levels to this. We're not asking people dress up in burqas, right? But there's well, I'm not.
Yeah.
But there's a minimum standard, and like it's compassionate. Like
Mhm.
like with the cheeseburger, if we just flashed a picture of a cheeseburger up here, your brain just registered food,
Yeah.
right? And with guys, sexual attraction is a hunger.
Mm-hmm.
With women, it's kind of like a nice thing that's an addition to your life.
Oh gosh.
But for men, it's like an itch. Sexual desire is like an itch. So when your eyes flit across a landscape and there's a girl in a short skirt, we literally can't help it. Our brain goes legs, breasts, move on.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost pre-conscious. Now that means that in and of itself, it isn't. It's like a recognition of that is attractive. But it's the second look where your eyes flip back
There
and
you
you're
go.
checking a girl out.
There you go.
That's you voluntarily doing it. And the more you do that, the more you fall into that, and the more sinful it becomes. But like the compassionate thing to do is like, I mean, you don't need to sacrifice all comfort, but just realize that the guys around you who are trying not to stare at you. And you could make their lives a little easier, even in the church. Like, do we need to wear yoga pants?
Yeah, some of it
into church services. Do we need to do that? Like, I know it's comfortable. I know it's comfortable, girls, but all the men in there are looking around perfectly innocently and going, but.
Yeah.
And then you've given them an opportunity
And
to stumble.
Let's try to be as non-biased as possible. Is that the word? As honest as possible. Is definitely not helped, and it does make it a million trillion gazillion times worse when they have porn brain as well.
Absolutely.
So this isn't specifically to say woman is all on them. Is what I was saying before when I started this. It's a both and situation,
and it's a feedback loop because guys with porn brain affect how women dress, because women get this positive reception from attractive men.
Wait, no,
when
they don't do
dress
it
a
for
certain-
men though,
Oh,
bro.
no, of course they do it for themselves. So why they put on makeup and walk around the house, which I hear sometimes women do, but like that's me putting on a suit and walking around the house. Like, okay, I might do that occasionally. But
Does it not become a point where what's the word when you love yourself?
narcissism.
Is it narcissistic? I swear there's a
Yes,
specific
which
word.
also should be discouraged.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking yourself in the mirror,
Wait, hang on a minute. Let's go. Maybe I'm stretching here. But going back to this, I need to be in a stable situation. I need to travel the world. In of itself is a bit narcissistic. Do you think?
It depends. I mean, it's self-centered, if that's what you mean. But
Yeah.
narcissistic, if they go like, man, I'm attractive.
That's true.
Man, I really like the way I look at all these Instagram pictures of me hang gliding
That's
or
what I was gonna
feeding these
say.
brown kids. Like,
Let me say this because we've been talking about women.
Yeah.
I do not think remotely men should be posting pictures shirtless at the gym.
no way. No
There
way.
you go. There you go. And so this is what
What are
we're
you
gonna say.
doing, bro?
This is what I'm saying.
Who's that for? Either you are a narcissist, or
Yeah.
you're trying to make a girl stumble.
Exactly.
Your wife ain't out there if she like the one who's like googling at you,
Yeah,
and like reposting your photos isn't the person you're gonna wife up.
Yeah.
Let's be
Exactly.
honest.
And so I just wanted to put that in there because it made me think when we're talking about this men adventuring and stuff. That should not happen. That should not happen. This isn't just a woman shouldn't just like this. And my goodness, that no one flipping talks about that. I don't know. I think you're the only guy. And all my days, this is just making me just think of a million trillion things. There was a
Oh,
situation.
wait. Before we continue,
Yeah.
because this is a really important line. We are not laying down a new law. We're not saying like, hey, we need like people going out and policing this. We're saying this as life advice, as like spiritual advice, basically. Saying like, really consider other people in how you dress. We're talking impassionately about it, not because we're like jackbooted Nazis and we want people police of vice and virtue.
This guy.
Yeah. I mean, we're not Muslim, so we don't
Yeah.
like police of vice and virtue out there, like punching women who aren't wearing hijabs. We're beseeching you, right?
This is the thing as well that we were talking about is so where we live in such a world where 100 years ago, most women would have seen this as considerate and been like, oh, you're looking out for me. This is so nice. But saying this right now because of the system we live in is so triggering. It seems like we're against them. You know what I'm saying? It's so weird. It's like this when it comes to the LGBTQ stuff. It's like, no, I'm saying don't have same-sex marriage because I do care about you, not because I don't care about you. And
It never comes to I'll force you. One day I'm going to kick down your door and I'm going to beat you. It never comes to that. We're never even advocating for political policy per se on most things. So abortion, I think we are advocating for
I'm
political
definitely,
position.
I would go to the extreme of advocating that I don't think bikini should be worn at a beach. I told you this before. I'm under the experience of
It's
that
indecent
being,
exposure.
that being indecent exposure.
Okay.
If a woman was to walk around half naked, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if a woman was to walk around down the street half naked, most people, obviously it's a woman, so it's not the same social degree. People would be like, that's indecent exposure. They'd be like, kids, don't look. But then you go to the beach, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And the same for a guy. If a guy was to walk around in a Speedo downtown, 100% if it's a guy.
Insert. There's an Aussie ad about a dude walking from the beach, about how far away you can get from the shore until it becomes weird just wearing a Speedo.
Yeah.
So you could insert this here if you
I
wanted
didn't
to.
know that. That's funny.
Yeah. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
But that makes the point. I think
Yeah.
Speedos are also kind of gross. Man, it's difficult though, because
It's definitely different.
what about performance swimmers? They need like really skin tight things that streamline them, or do we just go for, in the interest of public morality? You can't wear skin tight.
Yeah, but then if that applied to everyone, it wouldn't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? It would mean you could never break the old world record, but you know.
No, it's fair. I mean, yeah, I think it's becoming
but
difficult.
this is what we're talking about before. There's exceptions to the rule, but you don't make the rule based off the exceptions.
Mostly, we're not advocating political stance. We're trying to persuade people about positions on values, on spiritual matters. We're trying to persuade, not enforce or tyrannize people into these things. So always, like it's guys. It's unhealthy and it's bad for other people for you to be gallivanting and doing like the weird little peck dance thing and into a gym mirror or something for the gram, or for you to be pulling a front double bicep or something with your shirt off, or carrying two chicks with yoga pants, right, or something like that.
Squatting.
Yeah.
And then
dude.
those two chicks have another guy attached to them.
Yeah.
Just have this weird mech thing.
Yeah. No, but like it's
Have you
it's
ever seen
unhealthy.
that Giga Chad meme? Where I'll have to show you afterwards.
Okay.
Maybe I could put it on screen.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
And am I making myself clear? Because I think the first thing people jump to is when you start talking about the decisions that women make.
They hate
go,
it.
oh, you're trying to. It's
Europe.
was the Handmaiden's Tale? Was it?
I can't remember. Maybe when you say
Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just trying to implement a theocracy where you're going to just have all these women slaves and impregnate them. It always jumps to that.
This idea of not opening up everything is freedom is actually more beneficial to you. And how do you say this? Maybe this is the wrong way. Like your physical freedom to be able to choose to wear whatever you want is spiritually restricting. In the sense of it restricts your spiritual relationship with God. It shortens it, because there's always going to be a block in the way of growing in your relationship with God. You know what I'm trying to say?
I am, yeah. I'm just
maybe I'm
piecing
not
together.
explaining this properly, but then, and it's just an analogy. It doesn't need to be perfect. But restricting your physical life can open you up to a spiritual freedom. Meaning that, like, if you're not posting half naked photos of you, God doesn't have to work through that. If you're not porn brain, God doesn't have to work for that. It opens the door. That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't a perfect analogy or whatever.
That was quite. I think we've gone quite off track from the video. Women, yeah, we started off by talking about the temptations to sin that men have and temptations to sin that women have. I think attention is a drug for women. I think attention and validation from people, like likes on social media, is a great example, is poison for women. I think women give away pornographic sexuality for affirmation, right?
We're just triggering everyone today.
But it's this toxic feedback loop, right? It's the simp OnlyFans girl kind of ecosystem, and that's certainly something I've never heard people preach from the front. Like, hey, like, you know, porn is a huge corrupting influence on young men and young women, mostly young men, it seems.
I saw a study though, but where I think it was like, I forget what it is. I'm gonna butcher this. So I'm just gonna throw out a random statistic. I put it on screen, where it was like something on the lines of 60%. They asked a bunch of men and people in college if they had watched porn in the last month, and it was something like 75% of guys had. and everyone's like, that's so bad. But then it was also like, but 50% of girls had.
Mhm.
So if you were to get rid of the guy statistic and I was to tell you 50% of people had watched porn in the last month, you'd still think it's bad. But because the male statistic is higher than the woman's, people neglect that. But porn for women is still really bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, and also they access pornographic literature and pretended that it's reading.
Yeah. I literally saw something about that the other day.
Sure. Anyway, historically, let's go historically then, because I think the female porn addiction stuff is slightly more recent.
Mm-hmm.
You go like say 20 years. Let's say porn is more of a male issue, and a hunger for how does the Bible call it? Man, the acceptance of man, the glory that comes from man.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. The glory that comes from man is an incredibly strong female addiction. It is a huge corrupting influence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the weird sexual dynamic problems we have it today is because we've hacked women's minds via their desire to be accepted and loved and safe within a community. And then we've turned them on things like their own kids, turned them on men. Where we live in a rape culture, even though rape is exceedingly rare and we don't live in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
They're constantly oppressed, even though women out-earn men in part-time work and women are increasingly going to university over men, and women are increasingly getting high-paying job positions over men who are discriminated against. Women are still the real victims. All this stuff, it comes through the pathway of hijacking women's desire to conform and be accepted and loved and praised within a community, which is a good desire in and of itself.
When did
but
this
it's been
switch?
twisted.
Like, I know it's changing the topic. It's making me think of the history of it, and I can get into that another time. Shall we carry on with the video?
Yeah, sure.
And so they can confirm with other people that, no, I'm not an outlier. This is a major trend. This really isn't working for us. And this does not seem to just be God's will. Something is broken here. And what we're being told just doesn't add up. It's gotten so bad that even when we do say the right stuff to them, or we even just try to build up their faith, they don't listen. Because in their minds, everyone has screwed them over so badly for so long that all of us have lost the right to speak to them. The only people they will listen to now are people who get them results, which we don't.
Who is it talking about at the very end there? Talking about the people you can't speak to them. Talking about the girls or the men?
It's talking about people in the church talking to young men.
I see.
Especially about dating and sexuality.
I see.
And so they stop. And I think because the desire for female attention and sex, honestly, is such a strong motivator for men. When they feel discouraged, when you they go I want to start a family, or I want a marriage so I can advance in life, and they feel frustrated in that, they lose a lot of motivation. And I think also, if you're going to the church for truth, and the church will not give you the rundown on human nature, male nature and female nature, you start suspecting that people are selling you a lot of hogwash that sounds good, and they just stop listening to you. They stop trusting you. Even when you start saying things that are true, as he says, you've lost that ability to speak in their life because they're so skeptical. I think your generation is super skeptical, and in some ways, I get it, man.
Exactly, and I want to add one more thing to that. Not only are we skeptical because we think you've lost the right to speak to us, sex education in England, I'm pretty sure starts in.
Awesome.
If I was to present at youth group, which is year 7 and up, hey, I think we should talk about sex. Everyone says no. There's a point to what I'm saying. Everyone says no. We shouldn't do that. They're too young to understand. And what happens is when the church leaves it too late to speak to people, their worldview around that area has already been shaped. So in some cases, yes, they're not going to listen to you because you've lost all respect, or they feel so low of themselves that they can't listen to you or whatever, but also because they're just going to innately disagree with you because they've had the programming from school. This might not apply to homeschoolers, but even then, if you have children that are homeschooled and they're part of a sports team, they're probably going to come across this stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I think that was a big problem for me, was there wasn't a lot of people that spoke about sex to me. So even though I grew up in a church where my mom and dad loved the Lord and I knew it was wrong, it was just an overwhelming sense of the other opinion. And I mean an overwhelming sense, because I had maybe once every year on here, and then I had 5 days a week LGBTQ, you know, everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the reason I started masturbating, the literal reason I started masturbating, was because I had a guy come up to me in school saying, "Yo, have you had your first goon yet?" Literally. He didn't say that word. And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Really? Dudes, guys, come over here. And then go surrounded by like 8 dudes, and they're like, "You haven't done it yet, bro? You haven't?" And I was like, "No." And then they said I was a friggin' loser, and then they started showing me pornographic stuff at school to get me in the mood, so then when I would get home, I'd do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's not uncommon, by the way. I know so many stories like that, by the way. Because well, that's just your experience. I know so many. I could bring the receipts if you want. And that's another aspect to that, if you know what I'm saying, is if the church aren't going to speak to it early enough, it's going to be shaped by the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was
Absolutely.
on topic to what you were saying.
Yeah. And I think something that we're seeing is men who want traditionalism going for fake traditionalists like Nick Fuentes and Jake Shields, all these like ethno-nationalists, because they are fearless to say what they believe is true. And they have some twisted insight, but loaded into that is a whole bunch of like just weird Andrew Tate style, like Andrew Tate obviously says some things that are true, right? And it seems like, to be fair, that he's using all of that as a way to get by doing all of his sneaky, awful human trafficking stuff on the down low in the back rooms. Whereas up front, he goes like, "Oh, I'm just trying to get guys educated on life, on women, on get them just like fit and well financed, you know, this kind of stuff." But the reason men are pushed to go see these guys who seem to be successful with money, seem to be successful with women, seem to be making it in the world, is because they go, evangelical church is, people call them evangelifish. They're spineless, and they're floppy, and they're not willing to confront the truth. They don't have a well integrated worldview. Why am I wasting my time with these guys who aren't going to give it to me straight? It's all fake and gay, right? It's what they say. It's fake. It's artificial. It's unproductive, which is why it's gay. It doesn't produce anything good. Why am I wasting my time with these guys, right? Who are just going to look down on me because I'm not spiritually mature enough to have a wife, to have a family. I'm not far ahead in life. When I can get all these other guys who are going to get me there, where they're going to get me further in life. That's way more. That speaks way more.
And
to them.
let's try to be honest enough. Let's try to be intellectually honest to a certain degree. I do not think what I'm about to say is remotely to the degree that the media wants it to make it. But when men get to that position, they are more likely to be radicalized by like these Nick Fuentes people and these Andrew Tate people, where they will genuinely become misogynistic.
Yeah.
But men aren't born misogynistic.
No.
They're not born with this innate desire to just hate women. Like it's weird. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's original sin for feminism.
Yeah.
Is misogyny, is patriarchy. It's baby boys are born and you need to teach them not to sin against women.
Yeah.
Right? And that honestly, a lot of the attitude of the church towards young men and the way that they interact with young women is on that basis.
Yeah.
Right? And like we see it now in like a lot of the sex scandal stuff throughout the charismatic churches, like Mike Winger has been talking about some of this stuff, right? And some of the sex scandal stuff is its principal blame is on the guy seducing married women or younger women. I'm not going to call them girls.
Everything.
I'm not going to call them girls. A 19-year-old woman is not a girl.
Yeah.
Right? And even though
Pedophile.
Though in modern society we think we're getting more and more immature all the time.
No, you know,
paradoxically.
Let's just call this out real quick. A 19-year-old woman is a girl, but if a 6-year-old wants to transition, it's now an adult.
Yeah, they can make that decision.
Right. This is my one final rant comment. The inconsistencies of people drives me insane. Do I think I am the smartest person in the world? No. But I at least try to be consistent. I don't even think people care to be consistent anymore.
No.
They just deal with things as they come to their face. And then if they have a conversation the next week which completely contradicts what they said a week prior, they don't care because this now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, you know what I'm saying?
I understand. What was I saying? We were talking about women being taken advantage of in the church.
Yeah.
And it, absolutely, these guys are scumbags. Like, anyone who takes, what was the guy? Love Fiend guy. I've forgotten his name.
Oh my days, I forgot his name.
I'll never forget what he said
We'll
in
put
that
it
video.
on screen again.
Yeah.
I'm just a love fiend. I'll put that exact snippet. I'm going to cut it into the video.
Yeah. It's like these guys are manipulative. They have a lot of money. They're very influential. And so when they put the squeeze, but little social pressure on women, sometimes those women cave and give them sexual favors, give them romantic attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
The seducer in that gets the hugest amount of blame.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe women can be like Jesus and that they're called to have a certain wisdom about how they conduct their lives.
Yeah.
And so being seduced by scumbags means that you've acted a little foolishly.
You know, I literally said this. I made a short the other day about narcissism, and I had someone in the comments saying, yeah, but like narcissists do use the Bible to take advantage of women. I'm like, yeah, that does happen.
Yes, absolutely.
But you've got to have a very low IQ view of Christianity, because I think narcissism in Christianity is very easy to tell if you even have the smallest sense of and this is what we're talking about, like men seducing women. Is it's like, yes, I would primarily put the blame on the dude. But if this woman maybe in her own life had more accountability and more people around her, she would have, one, maybe told someone, and two, not given in.
If she had gone, I have a book of divine revelation, all the answers to life and righteous living. Let me see what that says about sleeping with married men. I think women can be smart.
Yeah,
I think they can make good decisions. I don't
think
think that's escaped a woman's attention that she could do
We've
that.
been going on for an hour.
Even if a religious authority, a dude with loads of influence and clout, still tries to deceive you into what a book says, absolutely will he be accountable for that, right? Absolutely. Is that a great sin to deceive people about what Holy Scripture says, to manipulate them, right? But it's the Bible says in very clear terms that having sex with someone who's already married is adultery.
Yep.
And it's a Google search away. You have
not even having sex with someone that's already married. It actually says if someone marries someone or divorces someone for no fault, and then you have sex with them or you marry them, you've committed adultery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it.
And this, I just wanted to say this is so funny because you were talking about it like this, the society of babying women. People are going to get triggered to what we're saying. I'm like, what are you triggered about? The fact that I don't think you're retarded?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think women are great and they can make good decisions.
Yeah, it's like,
I've seen women make good decisions their whole lives, man.
Yeah, it's like, what are you offended about? The fact that I think that you can be smart and learn the Bible. Like, what is offensive? It's like this complete twisting. It's like,
absolutely.
I think women can read the Bible, and I think women can be smart, and I think in cases women can be smarter than men. And if a man's trying to seduce them narcissistically, women have the mental. Every woman, I would say, unless they've got
disability. Absolutely not on them if they're disabled.
If they have, every woman has the mental capability to be smarter than this guy and realize that it's wrong.
Yeah.
What is triggering about that?
The Bible's isn't a book that's supposed to give you difficult to understand lessons in all regard. Like it's written to help guide you into godly living. It's not a mystery.
There's actually not a lot about Christianity which is up for disagreement. There's actually not a lot.
It's like 1%.
It's actually not a lot. It's so little. But it just so happens that some of those are the hardest topics. You know what I'm saying? To wrestle with. But the reason I'm saying that is the Bible, for the most part, if you have a study Bible, even flipping ChatGPT now is so helpful, is so easy to understand now in its history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a study Bible, most Bibles will have notes at the bottom, like a small column of notes.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's an excuse anymore.
No. And we the better information technology gets, the less excuse we have for ignorance. When everything is a Google search away, a Grok prompt away, like you have the full sum of human knowledge available to you right now. And that doesn't mean you need to memorize all of it, but it does mean you need to stay curious and you need to be self-aware and have the humility to constantly ask whether or not you're walking the right path.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that non-Christians can do, is you can constantly ask whether or not you're being wise and whether or not you're making a good choice. You can actually do that. So my expectations for Christians are even higher than that, right? Anyway, what did I want to say?
That we've been going for a decent amount. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap up the video.
You want to wrap it up? I wanted to bring it close on something. It's out.
I'm not cutting any of this out. I'm doing what I did before, where I'm going to zoom.
Diminished responsibility.
Yeah. Wow.
I think people are going to come back at you and say, "Oh, but you don't know. A lot of these women have really difficult, like, childhoods. Maybe that's some father abandonment. Maybe they've already come out of an abusive relationship and they're being predated upon by these powerful men." And my response to that is, yeah, that diminishes some of their responsibility, but they still have some responsibility for the choices they make, even in that regard. And like the legitimacy of those claims in each case is like up for grabs. Like we don't know. It's person to person. What's going on in your life? What happened when you were growing up?
Thing. Even some of the most challenged people ever have the choice between good and evil.
Yeah.
Even if you are brought up in a scenario, man, people are just gonna say you sound so privileged for saying this. Like this is privileged white male speech. You don't know me. This is privileged white male speech.
You have no idea how I grew up. No judgment.
Even if you grew up in the worst way possible, and choosing the right decision means immediate death and torture, you still have that decision.
Yeah. And the threat of death does diminish your responsibility, because that fear is real, and God knows. God knows it's scary in that instance where you have to choose righteousness and death, or life and lying, life and falsity. But you still have some accountability for that decision made. And I believe that women can be held accountable for that. I think women are strong and can be wise and can be kind and blessed people who bless the people around them. And that means you don't need to make stupid decisions. And I think merely saying that is so countercultural. We could even end it on that. But I want to end it on this, because I know you want to end it.
I'm going to end it on this.
I'm going to end my side on this, because I know we're wrapping it up. Your value, men, is not based upon whether or not you can get a woman to sleep with you. Whether or not that's in the right way in marriage, whether or not it's in the wrong way where you're getting Tinder swipes and that makes you feel just so good about yourself, right? Your value is not based even upon your competence or how much you can do for other people. Though that's good too. Being able to serve other people is great. Your value is based on how much God loves you. You are a unique and precious individual. No one is like you. No one can give to God what you can give in your own special way. And when you live into that and you start the grind, when you just start trying to live the way God wants you to live, and pay little thought to what the people of the world or the people influenced by the world think about you, you will become more attractive to women. You'll become more respectable. If you honor other people, you will receive honor. That's a little bit of life advice. Hey, men, you want to be honored? If you start honoring other people who deserve honor and respect and deference, people will see that, and that will something within their spirit, within their mental makeup, will respond to that by honoring you.
Yeah.
Don't play the games of the world. It's rubbish. It's balls. Don't play the game. Walk away from the table. Start walking the path of Jesus. Be committed to that, and things will work better. All this red pill stuff, like it can be informative, and it's, like if people aren't talking about it, it's information that helps you understand human beings, men and women. Right, and that's useful information. That's wisdom, right? But the decisions you make with your life are dictated by the path of Jesus Christ. And if you commit to that, things work out better. That's a promise I can make to you. Things will work out better if you commit to Jesus Christ.
They might not work out. What would the way be?
Your life won't be easier.
Immediately. That's it. It's not going to be.
It's not going to be easier, but it will
Not going to
be
be easy.
better.
It will be better, and better doesn't mean feeling good.
But that does come.
That does come.
That does come.
Life's hard.
Yeah.
Life's hard. I think to some degree, I'm so immature as a 23-year-old. Discipline, other things like that, attention, all that. I'm so disciplined.
Undisciplined.
Undisciplined, yeah. But getting married young and coming across these like super hard challenges has made me way more emotionally mature and way more spiritually mature. In short, Gen Z Ray got a lock in.
Yeah, but even if you weren't married, like marriage is a great test of your maturity and it's
Yes.
a great way to grow. Even if you weren't married, could you still grow? Could you still serve?
This is how I'm going to end it. This is how I'm going to end it. If you aren't married, this is a thought. I like this one. I said this to someone. Would you marry yourself?
Yeah.
Is that, no, like you got to think about yourself and where you are at in life. This isn't contradicting what I said before about success and all that. Get out of that. I mean, like your walk with God, your view. Would you marry? Do you think you're someone a woman would want to marry? Is that good?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Not the finished, the
Yeah.
finished product.
Yeah.
We're saying, are you on the path?
Mm-hmm.
Are you committed to the path?
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's not a certain level where you go like, oh yeah, yes, tick. He is attractive to me. It's something else.
There's maybe this isn't a small disclaimer. In closing, this is going to be the last thing I say. I know that there is some people in my life that said when you marry someone, you're not marrying for who they're going to become. You're marrying for who they are right now. It's like, yeah, it's like ish. And people are like, yeah, but they might not ever mature. Wrong.
Not on
Okay,
my watch.
yeah.
Genuinely,
Yeah.
as a husband,
Yeah,
your response needs to be not on my watch.
Yeah. So I think you don't want to look for the finished product, but that doesn't mean you start
Potential.
You look
Are
for
on
potential.
the path. Like, is it happening?
Mm.
Is it happening? Are they headed in
Yeah.
the right direction, man? Just do that, and life gets better.
You ready?
Real talk.